G'day up and welcome to the Temple of Blair. Tell you what, man, I need a fucking editor. It's taking me so long to get around to editing podcasts, so I might have to just move everything up to Streamlabs and then just, like, copy it straight over from some stream. Like, do the interview on the stream, then move it straight frigging down onto YouTube. It's crazy. Anyway, this is a conversation with Laura Russell from We Are Sovereign. Midlands-based, I'm going to call them a metalcore, sort of classic metalcore, mid-2000s metalcore band. Step Out of Your Comfort Zone came out a couple of months ago. Again, apologies for the delay. This is a profoundly millennial conversation, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. 1, 2, fuck it up.
Life being life, you know, the usual.
Where are you based?
I'm in Derby.
Oh, right, fair dues. Hairy dog territory.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to Altfest, is it? Oh, it's this month, isn't it? Shit, man.
Yeah. I'll actually be working it.
Oh, I was doing what?
I do like the ticket booth and stuff at the Hairy Dog sometimes.
I'm filming something there.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I'm filming an interview with Hell Ripper's going to be interviewing Gamma Bomb and vice versa. I'm trying to do like a artist interviewing artist sort of jiggly, and we'll just see how that goes. But I've been there before. I know they were doing up that top room to be more like a press area because it had the space.
Yeah.
How's that going? Is it still the same as it was? It's still like this wonderful grotty white emulsion space, or have they done it up?
It actually does look better, yeah, because we record there. So the studio upstairs, that's where we go. But they've got like a backdrop now to do interviews on. So
right, I'll have to ask you who the point of contact is for that bit because I need to figure out what I'm doing.
yeah, I'll send you his email. Definitely.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No,
right.
All right.
Let's jump into this. So we are Sovereign. Step Out of Your Comfort Zone came out last month. It was a fairly long time coming, if my sort of understanding of the chronology is correct. What do I need to understand about you guys as a four-piece to understand this record more? Because it's more than just a collection of songs, isn't it? It's a little bit more than a mishmash of things. It feels like kind of a concept record. But what do I need to understand about you guys?
Yeah, well, the concept's spot on with that. Basically, it's about every journey that you go through in life. Like if you haven't already, you eventually more than likely will. And it's based on an idea because I went through a lot like years ago and I came out the other side. So I wanted to base something on that. So I came up with the idea of breaking it down into bits like heartbreak, resilience and everything like that. And then, you know, the idea of the record is to listen to it, experience all the emotions. And then the speech at the end is the whole, you know, reflecting time to be like, look, I can do this. If you know what I mean? I want to show people that I'm a walking example of getting out the other side. So that's the concept of the record. And also as well if you don't step out of your comfort zone, you're never going to grow. Yeah. So that's a message we want to put across as well. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and when you just look at the track listing, you can see there's a journey you're trying to take people on. Where were the other guys with this? Because musically, we're not in one camp. We've got there's a few feet in a few different areas.
So Ash, the other vocalist, I met him first, and you know I explained the concept to him and what I was thinking of doing. Then we wrote all the lyrics together, and then the other two guys, they joined a little bit later on. And we've individually we've all been through a lot, and so it's not just based on my experience solely. It's kind of a interlink of everybody really.
There's a lot being poured into the sound though, because with the dual vocalists, I can what's the band called now? Shit, I was going to draw a comparison. I can't even remember the name of the fucking band. I can't believe this is where I live.
Oh, Alexis on Fire.
That's it. Fucking hell. That's the bastard. Fucking hell. Why couldn't I remember that? I knew it was like 4 words in one. What the fuck was it? And I saw it at Download as well this year. I was like, why the fuck did I remember that? There's something reminiscent there. There's a kill switch. We're certainly looking sort of mid 2000s. What we then called metalcore. Now we might sort of go new wave of American heavy metal or whatever it's called now. Is that what's being poured into the sound? Is that what's bringing you guys to the table, like in terms of your music? The music.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'm one of them people that I love listening to new music because obviously the music scene needs to thrive. But I'm into my old stuff. Like if I pick up, I even use an iPod. Still, I'm not even joking. Like I literally pick it up. I listen to like My Chemical Romance. It'll bring me Take It Back Sunday, the old stuff, like all of that. So the influences come from all that, like Bless the Fall, Early Days, Eyes Set to Kill, if you've heard of them, Silverstein, like a mixture of all of that. Older Day to Remember, like we're all into that, and that's where the influences came from. Yeah, the fact that we just can't grow up. I think that's what it is.
One thing I really like about sort of the newfangled technology ways of looking at old music is somehow we can have a fresh look on older things. And one of the best ones I've seen recently is someone's managed to isolate all the Gerard tracks from Helena. So you can go through the entire song and listen to just the vocals. And it's like, oh my God.
It's incredible.
It's absolutely fucking beautiful. But anyway, well, Laura, with the new record, it came out a month ago, so we're not quite, well, I guess we're still in the honeymoon period, I guess. But with this, do you feel like that new band smell is kind of being scrubbed off? Do you think you're sort of moving? Where do you feel you're moving forward into? Do you feel like you've left a period behind now that we've got something on the books?
Yeah, I feel like we're more comfortable as a band now. I feel like, because the most nerve-wracking thing is coming out to begin with, and you could release a song and no one even listens to it, and that's scary. So I feel like we've released music, people are listening to it, and we're kind of in this section now where we just need to carry on making music that we love and just concentrating on, playing loads of shows and stuff. But we're out of that nervous stage now, I think. Because it is terrifying. Fun. Yeah, it's time to relax a little bit. Obviously work hard, but relax in the terms of, you've got to think people are going to like us or they don't. And we've got the whole first song out the way. And, if you're a fan, you're a fan. That's
what age range are you guys in?
I'm actually 34 this month.
Wow.
At the end of, thank you. And we're all, say, 27 to 34 is age range. Yeah.
We're all in sort of like, demographically, we might be regarding this as the young professional sort of like window of our lives. Is that maturity playing into how you guys administrate yourselves?
Absolutely, yeah. I look at how I was in a band when I was in my early 20s to how I am now. Like I look at it more as a business rather than let's just, go and be reckless and not make money. And, you got to look at it from a business perspective now because it's your livelihood, isn't it? Like you've got to be in it to enjoy it, but also take it seriously, Yeah. So 100% age plays a factor.
in a business capacity, I feel obliged to inform you that We Are Sovereign.uk is the one-stop shop for diverse fun activities and educational personal items for your children.
Is it?
Yeah. So if you were planning on getting a website, you might have to send these guys an email.
What's it say on it?
It is the one-stop shop for diverse fun activities and educational items for your children. We've got things like arts and crafts, books and colouring books. There's a section called Party Zone, which includes gift sets and invitations.
We'll have to get them to sell some We Are Sovereign t-shirts on that bit then.
Yeah, completely. But just going back to where we are sort of like in terms of an age range, I kind of feel like this is like we're entering an era where this is kind of more acceptable within the industry to start a band in your 30s. I think it's people aren't quite brushing it as people trying to like live their heydays and try and relive their youth. No, I think it's people are realizing that to have fun, you've got to be able to not herd cats, but actually work together as a cohesive team, which is really, really fucking tough to do in like your late teens and early 20s. And that's the main difference.
I think if you're still doing it at our age, you want it. You know what I mean? Like you're in it because you really want to go somewhere with it. Like there's a lot of people that I know that I was around doing music with, and they just don't do it anymore. and it's, you know, it's a weird one.
It's a weird one. It's also, it's all about the incentive structure, isn't it? It's like what
Yeah.
I think people sometimes they go into music for, I mean, especially in those days. So like, and we're the same age. So like when we got into music, I'm guessing there was still smoking in pubs. There was like pints were sort of like 250. There was like there was an entire social aesthetic to it. And when you do grow out of that, some people obviously move on to different parts of their lives. But for me, there's a catharsis with that music scene, which you just don't get back from anywhere else in life, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, when I'm doing like the Roadrunner documentary, this is the whole sort of picture. It's about that catharsis when you see a band blow up the first time. And my example I always give is Trivium, because I was there on that first Descendancy tour, and I was like, oh my god, you didn't know at the time that you're in a room full of like-minded people, because it was the olden days, nothing was quite as oversaturated. So to see us like still at it now means there's an itch being scratched, which you just can't fucking get working at the post office or working at Nando's
exactly
like that.
You've got stuff that you need to get out. You've hit it on the head there. Yeah. Where can I watch that documentary, by the way? I did some research into you beforehand. Where can I watch it?
When it's done.
Oh, is it not out yet? No.
We're years away. We are years away. I'll send you some footage though, because I like just showing off. There was a time, Laura, where I was very secretive about how everything that was going on, because it's Roadrunner and because a lot of these people are either still in very active bands or that they operate in the industry at a higher level. I kind of kept all the footage back, and we're trying to wait until there's a product there. Now I'm just like, fuck it. When it's done, I'll just throw it on YouTube, but it'll still be broadcast quality. Fuck it. Everyone can see the Sepultura interview. It's fine.
I'd love to see some stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll send you a couple of links. Obviously, don't share it on too widely. But anyway,
I won't. Promise.
But yeah, it's quite the project, but that's a different conversation. That's for another time. We should talk about the nostalgia video, just because I say the video. That was the first song I heard, and I know it came out a while ago. But the thing I really admired about it was nostalgia as a concept is often. Yeah, it's paddled through and it's commodified and it's marketed. And what you tend to find is, there's this band. They're a thrash band. Get them some fucking denim jackets and talk about Metallica 1986. And that's kind of it. Stranger Things comes through. They realize something's resonating with an audience. Right, we need to go full fucking 80s on this thing. It's a weird sort of commoditization. Yeah, commoditization of this thing called nostalgia. But what your song does is it kind of points to it and goes, it's not a fad, it's a tool.
Yeah, it's not fashion.
It's a coping mechanism. It's not a thing that you can, it's not as vivid as people trying to make it out. Am I getting that correctly? Am I reading?
Absolutely, yeah. Mate, you're spot on. Like it's still part of me now. Like, I was on about before of the whole going back to old music and not being able to let go. And it's kind of, it's like a comfort thing, a trauma thing, and also just a connection thing, isn't it? Like all the things that we grew up with, and like watching things change and just not being able to let go. And like you say in the song, like sometimes it can be toxic. Sometimes, it can be really unhealthy. But yeah, that's absolutely spot on with what you've said. You should
tell me about the video then, because who the fuck's kept all those Kerrang magazines?
Me, guilty. I've got everything. Like I've got all my old CDs. I've got all the old Kerrang magazines, Game Boys, absolutely everything. I couldn't let go. I couldn't throw it in the bin. Like just little things of, even my little studded belts, eyeshadow that I used to wear. That might sound crazy, but I don't know about you. Have you kept anything? Yes.
My Game Boy Pocket. No, my Game Boy Pocket now fits in my pocket. Like, wow, I'm at an age where it does, and it's still. I actually bought a new battery cover for it like last year because someone was 3D printing them and selling them. But yeah, that's Pokemon Red inside.
Nostalgic.
Yeah, it's, to be honest, it's just because the battery power is pretty good on it. I like Pokemon Red. I've got good feelings about Pokemon Red. And when I'm in traffic, because I drive a lot, obviously filming, and I'm always on plane, but you know, I'm doing things.
Yeah, yeah.
Quite often I'm sat waiting for shit to happen, and it's just a little bit easier to reach into my pocket and get out a Game Boy Pocket and try and find a Taurus. You know, because I think it was a Taurus. A Taurus you get on Red, and then blue.
I love that.
You couldn't get that on blue, and you had to trade them across. But yeah, it was more function than form, to be honest. It's more function than nostalgia. Because I got like, I think Pokemon Ruby or something on the 3DS, and I'm like, I just don't. I need blocky, weird sounds. I don't need this fangled 500 Pokemon. Anyway.
Oh, I love that.
So was the idea with the video, we're gonna bring out all the stops, knowing that you're gonna point to nostalgia as like a tool, not it's a coping mechanism, not a fad. It was the idea, okay, well, we've got all this stuff, let's just throw out all the stops.
Yeah, definitely. Like I got to work with it. I was thinking of all the things that I connect with, like, you know, MSN. I made the little Scuzz video. Yeah, yes. MSN Scuzz video. The whole belt buckles that everyone used to wear. And I don't know if you saw in there was a gig ticket of My Chemical Romance 2005. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the whole plan of, because like I said, I went for a stage for years, and I'm still not out of it. But like, I feel like as I've got older, I've accepted it a lot more. But you know, I found it really hard to let things go, and not even a growing up. It's more of a, again, accepting life. The things that you're never ever going to be 16 again in a field drinking cider, listening to My Chemical Romance. Like, you know, you've got responsibility. You can still do it, obviously, but you can't be that person ever again. We'll have that back.
You have to find the things that create those core memories and those core nostalgic moments. And you can't do that until you've moved on. And you don't know something is the good old days until you've moved on from the good old days, right?
Exactly. And there's always that thing that people say that haunts me, like, at one point you logged out of MSN forever. You know what I mean? When there's one time you logged out and that was it. And that just stays in my mind. I'm like, that's so weird.
Then you see people still with Hotmail email. Like some like industry professionals still have like a Hotmail address, and it really cracks me up. One thing
I've still going,
yeah, man. I don't know if I'd say it's going from strength to strength, but some folks still have it. I mean, you kind of, obviously I've had to like speak to a lot of bands throughout this whole process, and you can tell the age range, because if it's Hotmail, it's our age up to about early 40s. Anything above, and it's BT Internet if they're in the UK. There's like btinternet.com.
AOL. Yeah.
There's a few AOLs in there as well. There's some very prominent metal musicians that have like forename.surname at AOL.com. And it's like, wow. Who fucking knew?
AOL. I remember that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So moving forward then, given that you guys started in 2019, you've got a mature mindset. Mm-hmm. You know what you're doing. You've got a fresh take on a sort of an older sound. What's the biggest challenge then for a new band of this kind of level?
I'd say the biggest challenge is fitting into gigs. With the sound that we've got, I'd say obviously we've got help with that now, but in the past, like, the biggest challenge was that it was kind of, you know, getting onto shows, and when you knew people want to take a chat, you know, they've got to take a chance on you, don't they? They don't know how you're going to go down and stuff like that. And I'd say also balancing your personal life with your musician, like, you know, being a musician. Don't know if you find that yourself, like, you know, no matter what happens in your personal life, you've got to keep on going with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to pick yourself up and get through it. So I'd say that's pretty challenging as well.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not a hobby, is it, anymore? It's something you love. So
yeah. It's I've learned recently that I've had to like literally look at the diary, and then I just go, that's now me. All that bit here is me. Whether it's fucking playing fucking Pokemon Red or just going for a run or something like that, I have to make that time work now. Otherwise, I just get absolutely overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed in like a mental or emotional sense, but overwhelmed in a sense of scatterbrain, and nothing gets done.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to learn what the balance of that is. And I think that's like something unique to our generation, Laura, as we sort of like, we've emerged as like the mental health cognizant, or the dawning of the cognizance of mental health awareness, I think. I think we've sort of gone into life going, we know there's something that needs to be done up here, but we're not quite sure what it is. And then that knowledge emerges. And that's why like these days there's like an entire industry built around like, you know, online therapies and things like that. But only like 5 years ago, wasn't even a scratch on it. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. It was rare, wasn't it?
Yeah, and a lot who've come after us, the Gen Zers, that's kind of built in now. They're going into high school knowing that there's like a mental health is kind of like it's a delicate sort of facet, but there is support there. We went into high school thinking, oh yeah, just fucking grin and bear it. You know what I mean?
You come out the other side. You come out the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the idea now. I don't know where how do we get to that? Oh yeah, balancing personal life and the musicianship. I think, and going even further back, if you think of the artists like, say, a Motley Crue or a Metallica or some of these bigger artists, like where they didn't draw that line, and it was just fucking crazy, and that's where we get all these crazy fucking stories of like Jimmy Page and the occult and stuff like that, because he didn't go home to his missus, he just kept on being Jimmy Page the entire fucking way through his whole shtick. Yeah.
No, so I get you.
What do you struggle with personally then when you're trying to separate those two lives?
Again, you can probably relate to this yourself. Like relationships, I've had to sacrifice a lot with that because of time. Like, you know, you've got to work to be able to, you know, until you're full time as a musician, you've still got to work on as well as that. So you're working, you know, you're doing your thing with the band, and you know, having time for a relationship, or you know, it's really difficult. So there is that, and obviously, again, when you're in a dark place, because not everyone's going to be 100% all the time. So you know, when you have your bad dips, that's it's challenging, because you know, regardless, again, you can't just put your band on hold for 5 months while you repair. Do you know what I mean? You've got to. I mean, you could, but you know, there's other people involved, and you know, you've got to keep going, got to keep it strong. Yeah. So
it's interesting when you were saying the about particular band nights and trying to fit onto certain bills. Is that a UK centric problem, do you think? Do you think we have like maybe our industry is a little bit more, what word am I looking for? Is it oversaturated or less saturated?
Possibly oversaturated. Yeah, there's a lot of bands, isn't there? You know, looking for shows, and you know, I think, you know, promoters making money as well, and they've got to bear that in mind. And, you know, there's that whole catch-22 again. Like when you're in a new band, you're trying to build a fan base. You're not going to turn up and have all these people. Like we're gradually at a stage now where, you know, people are turning up to see us, which is great. But, you know, you've got to, you know, the challenge is getting past that barrier of, and I do feel sorry for brand new bands coming into the scene, because you know, you've got all this passion and you just want to go for it. But you haven't just got the challenge of writing the music and being different. You've got so much more to absorb, if you know what I mean. And again, you probably know that yourself, being in the industry. It's very...
Yeah. I mean, I don't consider myself in the industry. I'm sort of like just sat on the outskirts of the cricket bat, just sort of like probing stuff. That's what I'm sort of doing. That's how I see it anyway. But I think one of the things that helps is when you do start treating a band as a business, you start getting personnel attached to it as a team, right? I mean, in the mutual case, it's Tom who hooked up this interview, right?
Yeah.
Having folk like that, who sometimes it's their entire existence to have an overarching view of what's out there and where we can connect dots and things like that. I think that's the difference, and that's how you break through that saturation period, right?
Absolutely. It's about, you know, I never used to believe this when I was in my early 20s. I was like, if you're good, you're good. That's it. You're going to play this, you're going to do that. But it is genuinely, obviously you've got to be good, but it is about who you know. 100%.
It's
big thing in the industry.
I mean, there was one person did ask me like a while back, like what they could do to get into the industry, and I gave them the cricket bat answer. But I also said like the main thing to sort of understand is like it's a boys' club, but it's not a boys' club. Is the music industry like there's no job advertisement that you apply to and then get. People tend to get drafted into organizations on the merits of what they've done by themselves. So if you wanted to be a label person or a PR person, the best thing you can do is just do it. Just literally build up your own thing and then just sort of operate from there. And then by the time like an offer comes in, then you probably won't be interested because you got your own thing going on.
Yeah, you've proved yourself, haven't you?
And I think that's a similar proposal for a band. You just got to keep building it up yourself. Like, Ed Shikari didn't sign with a label for the longest time because they realized that they had their own, they built everything up so much that they didn't need any extra support. And it just took them, X amount of things lining up and X amount of things falling apart to go, actually, fuck it, we don't need like a Warner or a Universal. We can just headline Astoria off our own backs. Themselves. Yes. So I think it's just hard to sort of hit that mentality, especially when you're in your early 20s, which is again why I'm fascinated by people starting bands in their 30s, because they've got a bit more, they can accept that reality a little bit simpler.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
What's your favorite lyric on the album? Going into some detail.
Oh, it's a very good question. I'd say these footsteps walk through the resilience. That's probably my favorite.
Which one's that one?
On Don't You Dare Quit.
Right, okay. Where does that come from?
It's just about, obviously the whole song is about not giving up. And that's why the band exists today, because I didn't. So it's all about, walking through I know it's a generic saying, but walking through the storm regardless of what it's thrown at you.
Yeah.
That's why we put like we have a music video. We cooked loads of fake glass for hours. The whole concept is we're performing on, we're stood on this site called Sugar Glass.
Right.
It was so painful, but like we were playing on that, and that's the whole concept of, you've got to walk through so much a lot of the time. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite lyric. I love that lyric.
Yeah. You just got to keep your head down and it's a very Jesse Leach kind of saying as well.
Yeah,
the words in the order they're being portrayed, I can really hear that sort of that sort of flow that he's got. And he's big on that kind of resilience and perseverance stuff as well. And I can hear that in the sound. Here's possibly a personal question, and you don't have to answer it if something's not coming to mind. What's your biggest? I'm experimenting with this, so bear with me. What's your biggest failure? Not necessarily in the band. It could be a personal one, or if that's too close to the bone, think of your second biggest failure or third, which is maybe.
I'd say one of my biggest failures in life is investing so much time into people that don't appreciate it. So it's not necessarily an event, it's a feeling. Like it's a whole, like if I hadn't have done that for so many years, I'd be so much like, do you know what I mean? I feel like I always give. And I've always done it in every band I've ever been in. And I've given everything my all. And I feel like a lot of people don't return it, whether it's in relationships, everyday life, strangers you meet. So that's definitely been a big failure and something I've had to learn and kind of swallow as I've got older, that not everyone's as given as I am.
Just to add a bit of nuance to it, and maybe I'm putting a bit of too much of myself into it, but it's not necessarily like a quid pro quo kind of thing. When you invest time into someone, it's not that you expect like exactly the same thing back, but the regret of having invested that much time usually comes from a fact that you realize they never gave any fucks in the first place. Not that they didn't match your energy, but they completely weren't on the same level as you in any regard.
Yeah, and you don't realize that till you're out of it, do you?
You don't realize it. You don't realize it until usually you've got something for yourself, and it's one of those where I think one of those common sort of sayings is, as you go through life, the people that you stay in touch with were clearly like your mates, and the ones that you don't, the ones that fell off for whatever reason, were those that fell off. And it's not until you get to that point that you go, oh yeah, shit, that guy was completely not on the bus.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's happened a lot. Happened a lot throughout my life. And again, you probably how old are you? Sorry.
I'm same as you. I'm 34.
Yeah. So
Actually, I'm older than you, slightly.
you've probably experienced it yourself, like, even more so when you get older and you look back and reflect on everything. But don't get me wrong, I am a very positive person. I don't want to come across in this interview as everything sucks, life sucks, because I am very positive. I feel like, as you get older, you look back and reflect on everything, and it changes how you deal with things going forward, which is good that you do that. I think it's really important to do.
It's also when you sort of, if you have been on the planet Earth for 34 years, you end up with some positive experience and positive relationships, which is where you then go, this fucker gets me. Fucker, I'm not. This is a different feeling from that guy. Even though I put everything into it, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna completely.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna bring us into the station because it's been half an hour. It's been a very, very quick half an hour, and this might be a quick answer. But have you ever seen a ghost?
See, I have this weird thing where I've opened my eyes. I've actually been researching on the internet, and I don't want to come across again as crazy for people watching this. Or I have this thing where I wake up and I see writing on the wall, and I've seen people. So whether that's a ghost, I have no idea. And I've researched on the internet, and other people get it as well. And it's not like I don't get it in everyday life. Like I'm not, I don't imagine things or see things when I'm out and about. It's only when. And I thought at first it was just me being sleepy or whatever. And I've kind of made myself be like, no, you're actually awake. You're seeing this. So maybe that's a ghost. I don't know. That's some creepy stuff.
Could it be? Is it always waking up and seeing it? Always in bed?
Yeah, it's always when I'm like lying down. Even sometimes when I'm not falling asleep, but I've like, just closed my eyes for a second to be like, oh, I'm not that sleepy, but I'm not, and opened it, and I've been well awake and seen it. Does that make sense? Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's so strange. I have researched it and can't find any answers. People are saying spiritual stuff, but I'm like,
the way you first said it sounds like kind of a sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I thought that. Because I've had it in the past, like when I was really stressed when I was younger, I used to see spiders running up the wall, and I looked that up, and that was stress. But then now it's like writing, and it's just so weird, so odd. I can't explain it.
I doubt it's delirium tremors. See, I'm trying to diagnose you now. That's not really fair, is it?
Please do, because it's creeping me out.
The only time I've heard of that is delirium tremors, and that's when my mate Dave went to Wacken Open Air Festival, and he got shit faced like the whole 7 days. And on the way, when he came home, like he woke up and he started seeing stuff on the walls, and he like completely freaked out. I'm guessing you're not shit faced for 7 days at a time.
Nah, I haven't got pills by my bed or anything. Have you seen one?
I haven't seen a manifestation of a being. I've had some weird shit happen to me, but I've not I don't think I've seen anything totally spiritual. I'll tell you one from that I got from David White. He sings in a band called Heathen. Because I ask this question all the time, and a lot of the time everyone's like, no. End of interview, done. But David came back with he was on his vacation with his wife in Hawaii, and his wife had something in her bag. It was, I don't know, it was something funny. So they took a picture of it. Oh no, it wasn't that. It was a stray kitten coming up to like beg for food. Very cute. Took a picture down next to the handbag.
Yeah.
And when they reviewed the picture, there's a foot in the picture, like there's a bare foot. What? And they're like, "What the fuck's that?" And then they were speaking to the restaurant staff, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Steve the ghost or whatever the local ghost." Like it's a known thing that there's like a ghost that just wanders from table to table in this restaurant. But he sent me the picture, and it is literally just this weird sort of apparition, like the see-through foot, which wouldn't be like. It's like it's coming through the table. It's weird.
What the fuck?
I know, it's great, isn't it?
I love how they just naturally be like, yeah, it's Steve the ghost.
Oh yeah. I'm oversimplifying it, but yeah, it was as simple as going, oh yeah, that's just the fellow that kicks about in this restaurant. I'm like, all right.
What the fuck?
Yes. Well, I hope to collect more ghost stories as
if anyone else what I've got, let me know, please.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
All right, let's close out there. Any pluggables? Anything to round off?
Well, our album's out everywhere, streaming platforms. It's called Step Out Your Comfort Zone. We've got music videos on YouTube. I'd say that's a good place to go as well, because that's where we express ourselves the most. And we're everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
If
So
you
search
stumble
We Are
upon
Sovereign.
Search We Are Sovereign, but if you stumble upon a children's apparel shop, you've gone too far.
We're on Big Cartel at the moment.
Right.
That's where we got merch available there. So
There we go.
Yeah.
We've got it corrected. All course corrected.
yeah, we're
Right,
not on the children's website.
Right, Laura, thanks very much for doing this. I'll have to